All right, guys, day number 1 in South Korea. We're about to do our first workout, which I've been dying to do because I sat economy for about 16 hours. I'm a little cramped up. Yeah, we're with James and Sam. James and Sam are the homies right now. They'll be with us the whole tour. Obviously, I packed only the essentials. Pre-workout from Rise, Versa grips, because we're training back with Rich Gaspari today. Rich Gaspari is a freaking legend. In fact, I used to watch a lot of his videos when I first started getting into like weight training and lifting. So I barely ever take this pre-workout because it's so damn strong. This is one of the strongest pre-workouts that Rise has. You can use promo code Sadik. I don't even know like what was going through their head when they formulated this. They just put so much active ingredient in it and it hits you instantly. So, ooh, smells delicious. By the way, I brought 2 different shirts, dude. The US version of Now or Never. Then we got the launch of the Korean version, Now or Never. Which one do you want me to wear, dude? This one or this one?
Yeah, wear the Korean one.
The Korean one? All right, cool. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Starting Hadzovic?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so honored to see you.
Nice to
Can
see
I
you.
take a picture of you? Oh, thank you.
You know what's pretty cool? I used to watch Rich Gaspari's videos when I first started getting into lifting. So learned a lot of many techniques from him. Bodybuilding.com, I've seen him on there a bunch of times. And if you don't know Rich was runner-up at the Mr. Olympia 3 years in a row. 86, 87, and 80.
That's my history.
88, yeah. So
very young too. At 20,
yeah.
My first Olympia, 22 years old to get second. Well, actually 22 third, 23 years old second, 24, 25. So I started very young. Pro at 22. Yeah, that's why I'm
and your
still
first
22.
show was Night of Champions, your first pro show.
Yes,
Right,
started
Night
as
of
Albert
Champions.
Beckles.
Oh,
And it came in second that they said I should have won.
iconic, man. Iconic. So I was born in 87, so by the time it was 87, he was already placing runner-up Minnesota Olympia twice.
Yeah.
So I got a ton to learn. And,
I'm an old fuck,
yeah.
unfortunately. But
I got a ton to learn, and we're going to train back in biceps today. So let's get after it. Now, Rich, were you doing a lot of behind the head pull downs?
I did behind the neck presses, but not really the pull downs as much. Found out now they're really bad for you. Do you do them?
Are they bad for you?
They're supposedly
Yeah,
supposed to be bad. They're supposed to be bad for your shoulder. For the fact that it's an unnatural plane of
Yeah.
motion. You know, I retired. I got certification from NASM because I figured like I know how to train, but I like to learn more like biomechanics. A lot of the exercise I was doing, like behind the neck, presses or behind the neck, lat pull downs. It's an unnatural plane, so it causes issues, with your shoulder. So I stopped, doing them. Even benching, how you go like to your chest, I'd stop right here, which is you're still getting full range of motion. First of all, I moved to California. I was just turning 20 years old, so I was 19 years old, moved to California. I moved there because I wanted to be a pro bodybuilder. So I was in college and I decided to quit college and go to Venice to become a bodybuilder. I met Lee Haney in the Valley. He saw how crazy I was because I was super strong when I was younger. I was squatting close to 700 pounds, benching 520. I had some crazy weight, so he goes would you like to be my training partner? So I was like, this guy was a pro.
Hell yeah,
I said,
dude.
I was just moving to California. I said, yeah, I'd love to train with you. And then we just had this great relationship because we trained together and I learned a lot from him. If you ever listen to him, he's always like stimulation, not annihilation. So, but I still like to annihilate a muscle to grow because unlike him, I didn't have genetics like him. But he taught me how to, proper movements and training. My legs were too big for my upper body, so I stopped really training heavy on legs. He trained heavy on legs because his legs were his more weaker point. So we kind of trained together to make his legs bigger, make my upper body better. But he taught me a lot. I have to say, if it wasn't for Lee Haney, I don't think I would have been turned pro. Wow. And then we became rivals. But it was funny because the whole time together, we had such a good synergy. because I wasn't this guy who just was like, okay, leave, okay. I pushed him.
Yeah.
And he was like, some days he didn't want to train. I'd be like, oh, you're a pussy, you don't want to train.
Yeah.
And we
That's
had
a good training
Yeah, we
partner.
just had good, and he said I was the best training partner he ever had because I pushed him where most guys were like intimidated by him.
Amazing, dude. Love that. So what's the deal? Would you guys pick each other up at each other's house? Were you roommates? Like,
Okay, so what happened with us is I was living with some roommate, and what happened was I was going to move back home because I ran out of money. So he's like, I need you as a training partner. I'm getting ready for the Olympics. It's going to be my first Olympia. I'm going to try to win. So he offered for me to live with him. So we lived in this apartment together, and it was funny because two guys getting ready for shows, getting ready for the Nationals. And back then you had to win the Nationals, and then you had to win the Mr. Universe to turn pro. He was getting ready for his Olympia. So we're both dieting the same time with his poor wife. I was in the guest room, and his poor wife was dealing like
with all the protein farms.
Yeah, and two guys dieting for shows. So one day I because I was just like honoring. He's like, you better be nice to my wife. I'm going to kick your ass. So
It's hard to be nice when you're dieting.
When you're dieting, so it's like, I'm sorry. His wife's Shirley. I go, I'm sorry, Shirley. I'm sorry. But I got to tell him, he was the greatest guy. To this day, I'm very grateful. I truly respect him. Back then I really wanted to beat him, but if you look at his genetics, I mean, his small waist and his wide back, it was just, that was the Lee Haney era. Eight Mr. Olympias, and I'm pretty proud to get 3 seconds against one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time. Or when you talk to Ronnie Coleman, he always puts him first.
I noticed that. 9 in a row. I just wanted one. You know what I mean? Just give me one measly
Listen,
one.
all I wanted was one Olympia.
Yeah.
And I got to say, I'm the bridesmaid of like many guys. I tied with Kai Green, 3 Olympias. Franco Colombo, 3 Olympias. The only guy who has a lot of seconds, but he also won the Olympics, was Jay Cutler.
Oh,
He has like 6 second places. In the Olympia.
Man. So between Rich and I, we have a collective of 5 runner-ups at the Olympia. His division is a lot harder to get a runner-up in, but it's not easy to get second. First time, it's pretty easy because, all right, cool, I'll improve, I'll come back. Second time you get second is like, you get heartbroken.
That's another guy who tied with second, 3 seconds is Kevin Levrone. So there's me, Kevin Levrone, and Kai Green.
Wow.
With 3 seconds.
That's right, man. What were you guys doing with the water like back then? Were you guys using like water loading techniques? Were you going like 0 water? Were you using diuretics? What was the protocol of the late 80s, early 90s?
I didn't believe in diuretics, so I was one of the few that didn't take it. I was known for my conditioning. I did restrict fluids the last day, the day before the show. I would drink, like you said, water load. The week before, drink over 2.5 gallons. And then the day before the show, cut it down to like a gallon. Stop drinking around 2 p.m. So I'd get still my water in and then just sip through the day. And that would just like, I'd also do a diuretic tea. I would do like, just an uva ursa or some herbs I would take. So I would drink a whole big gallon of that tea the day before.
Oh, wow.
So I never really took diuretics.
You guys send me that link.
Yeah.
I need that tea. I could use it today.
It really works.
A dandelion root tea.
Dandelion root, uva ursa, like all the diuretic. Yeah, it was all the diuretics. So it was all natural. So it's not going to make you, when you take like a Lasix or
too strong.
Diazide, what's going to happen? It's going to take the water, which I see a lot of these pros now, they carb load. And what they do is they take diuretics, but then it actually backfires. And then the water in their muscle goes down, so they look deflated. So they look deflated. That's it.
Bodybuilding is an ever-evolving, ever-changing thing with your physique, man. I can't do the same program I did 5 years ago or even 10 years ago. I'm always trying to kind of work around injuries, work around symmetry issues, judges' feedback. So you're constantly adjusting things. Otherwise, we'd all just copy and paste the same program. We all have phenomenal results.
So what's your split now?
Oh man, I have a 9-day split. So
9-day?
9-day, dude.
So what is it, 3 on, 1 off?
Yeah, 2 to 3 on and 1 off. Really had the same issue, kind of similar to you as when you were younger. The legs are just overpowering the upper body.
Yeah.
You know, so obviously you can never have enough back.
Yeah.
You can never have enough arms. You know, it's a golden rule of bodybuilding. Yeah. And just trying to just mold my physique into the best it can possibly be, you know,
so you train on weekends. Like I just now my schedule, because of business, I try to take weekends off and spend time with my family.
Yeah.
So I do a 5-day split, and I just.
That's
but a lot of times I think it's too much, because 5 days in a row. By the time I get to the 5th day, but I just need that.
But you don't want to rob your family of the joy of having you around, you know, especially those pivotal years, 5-year-old son. Oh man. That's probably when it gets fun too, is right around 5 years old. These days, it seems like there's a misconception that they must stay on steroids all year round. Yeah. Now, back in the day, I guess there's a notion that you go on and you come off. Yeah. And you train natural.
Most of the off season, you train natural, and then before a show, you go on your cycle.
So what would you say, 12 to 16 weeks was typical?
About 16 weeks out from the show, it would start, because you'd have a little bit of a bulking phase to grow. Because I would always grow into my show, where a lot of guys have to diet down. I could weigh the same off season and then be in the show at the same weight and be ripped. Awesome. But the guy who was really good at that was Kevin Levrone.
Oh, for sure.
He would be like 210 pounds and then be 260 for the show, which was, I don't know how he did that. Great.
One cool thing about Rich is he's the owner of one of the most iconic legacy brands in the supplement game that's been out there. It was like one of my first pre-workouts ever, Super Pump. And then obviously they had the post-workout, which was Sizon, the Plasma Jet, Myofusion. I can't, Rich, you owe me some money, because I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on your products. Yeah, I want like a.
I wish I would have known that back then when I had to sign you as an athlete.
I know, but I didn't look like how I look now, and I didn't have the following yet. My first supplement sponsor was a $250, and then free airfare all around the country to compete. So I would just meet a chick and be like, yo, you want to go to South Carolina? Sure. Okay, let's go to South Carolina. Hey, you want to go to California? I would just kind of use it to like hook up with chicks. But then I turned pro too quick to even utilize much of it. I should have turned pro the show before, at my first national show. But everybody better said, I got robbed. You know, so.
I mean, you're like a physique, and you said you're not as big as the guys in Classic. And to me, you still look big.
I'm big, but these boys, because I competed with Chris Bumstead. I was doing 2 Classic Physique Mr. Olympias. I got 3rd. And then I got 7th in my 2 Olympias. One Olympia.
The same height class as him?
He's taller, so he can weigh more. So if we're both wearing shoes and we're just standing here at Expo, we look the same height. Yeah. But like he's just a little bit taller. So like every half an inch is like 7.5 pounds.
And that gives you an advantage on your weight. Oh, yeah. So he's at a perfect weight for the weight perfect height for his weight.
Yes. Yeah, although it doesn't mean anything. If somebody shorter comes in better condition with better posing, symmetry, everything. But
how do you think the guy who came second to Chris this year? What do you think of him?
Who got second? I forget. Oh, a new guy, Mike the Badass, right?
Yeah.
Looks good.
He looked really good.
But it's just tough. You can't beat Chris Bumstead. You can't beat him.
Yeah,
he's like a cheat code. Distance. Just fingers. Wow. Just fingers.
Ooh. Wow.
Just fingers.
Oof. Wow.
Just fingers.
Yeah. One more.
Just fingers. Oh. I can talk about
since we're traveling, I don't want to use heavy weight to hurt myself. I got like, brittle bones.
He's trying. He's being humble. He's not. He's actually lifted pretty heavy. It's heavy enough to make me sweat. What about Ferrigno? Have you had much experience with Ferrigno? I never met him.
I know him really well because when I lived in California, he was out there training. I never got to train with him. It's funny. I got to see him when he got ready for the Olympia when he was 320. That's it. Come on. That's it. Come on. Okay, that's good. Woo.
Probably heavier than
So
I
I
should.
seen him go from like 260 to 320 when he did that comeback.
Yeah.
He was like 42,
Yeah.
43.
Yeah.
He was just massive, like 6'5", 320.
What about these dudes? Are they hooking up with chicks all the time? Were they all the time? Or you just get a new chick all the time?
When we traveled a lot, I have to say, I was a rock star.
Yeah.
Because imagine, okay, can you imagine now being 22 years old, placed top 2 in the Olympia, and then you're traveling the world,
Getting paid.
going to different, and getting paid, and then going to different
Yeah.
countries, and so I had a fun time.
Amazing.
I have to say.
Yeah.
It's like being a rock star.
It's a good thing we got it all over the system. You know, life is a lot different now.
I don't know
We're
if
not
I
playing Hot Wheels.
got it out of my system. So. That's one of the women have been one of my kryptonites.
Okay. That's a good one. That's a good one to have. It could be drugs or alcohol. Yeah. That's cool.
So what else? We're going to do biceps.
Biceps, whatever you want.
What do you want to do?
2 exercises.
Yeah, let's do
I want something to really explode my arms.
Almost like you're popping up underneath the stage.
Yeah. I'm cool with that. Yeah, like underneath the stage and smoke is coming out. Rich Gaspari, yeah, he's a legend. So Rich Gaspari, if you guys are not familiar, 86, 87, and 88 runner-up into Mr. Olympia, not to mention countless other accolades in bodybuilding. He was the guy that made striated glutes a thing. Like nobody had striated glutes until he was there because he was so focused on the conditioning because he didn't have the genetics, so he had to come in crazy conditioning. He trained hard. Rich now is 62. It's great for me to pick his brain, you know, ask him about different training protocols, being able to walk around his city and call him a friend and, you know, speak to him and have breakfast with him every morning is great. And it was really good because I could really ask him all the questions that I'm actually curious about, not just for film, but just out of my own curiosity, stuff that I could take home and implement into my own game planning and competing.